we're heading to Glasgow and Overtone for their Eton Mallows sour beer. 8%, cracking artwork, but what's it going to taste like? Keep on watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be moving away from the IPAs and the pales to have another sour. Now this beer is from Overtone, they're based in Glasgow, and it almost feels like we've got a sort of battle here between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Now I spent many years ago, I lived in Glasgow, had a cracking time up there. There's obviously a big rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh. And really, in terms of sours, I've said it before on the channel that I think the Vault City are the masters of it. But this one really sort of did catch my eye. It's by Overtone, it's Eton Mallows. It's an Imperial Eton Mess Sour. I'll read out what it says on the. It says a thick fruited sour loaded with raspberries, lingonberries and strawberries, balanced with Madagascan vanilla pods for sweetness. Then we've added a ton of mini marshmallows for extra creamy fluffiness. Description wise, it sounds really good. It doesn't sound like a beer, but it sounds like a really nice drink. But 8%, so it's fairly strong. But let's crack it open and see what it's all about. I'm expecting a real sort of bright pink type of drink. The question will be whether it's how sour it is and whether you do get that difference by the obviously the marshmallow and the vanilla pods in it. So beer in a glass, as I thought, it's pretty. Obviously we've got a very pink, two-finger pink head, but it's a very sort of bright ruby red colour. It almost looks like blood. Looks pretty impressive. Let's see what the aromas are like. Yeah, I mean, you're getting those raspberries. The other berry in it, I'm not quite sure what that is. Lingonberries. I don't think I've ever had a lingonberry. I presume it's another sort of red sort of berry. Raspberries, strawberries. You sort of can pick up a little bit of the sort of lactose in it, the sort of milkiness. Smells pretty good though, and you know it's a sour beer. It's got that unique sour sort of like fizzy cola bottle sort of aroma to it. Smells pretty good, looks pretty good. Let's see if it tastes good. Cheers, everyone. Oh, that's good. What's quite amazing, I thought it might be a little bit too carbonated, but as soon as you touch it to your mouth, it's got a really creamy mouthfeel. So those marshmallows and the vanilla pods have really sort of done their work. So almost the mouthfeel hits you before anything else, and you think, oh, this is smooth, it's gliding down. Then you get that real sort of burst of raspberries, then a sort of strawberry, a sort of, not a strong sort of tarty sort of taste, a sort of sweeter strawberry flavour. Almost like a sort of strawberry jam, in fact. And then just when you think, well, this is not a sour beer, it just hits you right at the back end. You get that little sort of real sort of sour burst, really. But because it's so smooth, it doesn't last that long, and it actually just sort of glides down really well. Yeah, I mean, it's like the Vault Cities in that it's got a lovely balance to it. You get that real fresh raspberry, strawberries, just a very sort of red berry type of flavour. And it's all wrapped in this sort of creaminess, but sometimes with lactose and creamy sort of in a fruity sort of beer, it sort of doesn't really work, but actually it does work really well. It's and then you get this sort of, I was going to say, the tart sourness on the back end, really. It just sort of hits you just at the back, just when it's all gliding down and fruity and smooth, then you're getting that sort of, oh, wait a minute, this is a sour beer, it's not a smoothie. And it just sort of hits you. A lot of sour beers, you get the sourness right up front, but with this one, it sort of comes right at the end. It's beautiful looking beer, beautiful smelling beer, and it's a beautiful tasting beer. Is it as good as the Vault Cities? Well, it's up there. It's definitely up there. I'd almost say that even though the Vault Cities are sour, the ones that I've had are a little bit sort of, they're sort of held back a little bit in terms of this. They're tart more than sour. There is a subtle difference between that. With this one, you're getting a little bit more sourness than tartness. But, you know, again, we've had sour beers that are sort of this sort of colour, the red berry, raspberry, strawberry sort of thing. And they can be just sort of really thin, really fizzy, and almost that sort of sourness is unpleasant. But with this one, it just gives it a little bit of a kick, really. I mean, I talk about kick, but 8%. You'd never know this was 8% because it does taste just like fruit juice. Yeah, so it's a beautifully balanced. It's the balance that really gets it. It's just got that smooth creaminess, which again we get with the Vault City ones. And then that little tingly bit of carbonation, zipping the flavours around, and there's lots of real red berry flavours. It's a good beer. I'm glad I've had this one. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Overtone Brewery's Imperial Eton Sour. It's called Eton Mallows. Really good. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, the description is very inviting. You know, the berries, the berries? The lingonberries, strawberries, raspberries. You think, yeah, that's going to be nice and fruity. Then you've got this Madagascan vanilla pods. The way that they say it's not just a bit of vanilla, it's Madagascan. You know, it's going to be a quality product. And then it has this ton of mini marshmallows to give that extra creaminess. I mean, it really is nice and creamy. It actually, you know, even looking at it in the glass, I wouldn't necessarily think that looked overly creamy, really, but believe me, it is. It's very creamy. It's like a smoothie, basically. So let's go through the scores. First things first, aroma. Well, it's got a lovely aroma. Those berries are really strong. Raspberries are really hitting you hard there. You get a sort of slight subtleness of the vanilla, but really it's all about the fruit smell that you get, and it's really up front. And then you can still smell that sort of sourness on it, you know, that very distinct sour aroma that you get with beers. But I think it's cracking. I'm giving it 14 for aroma. Appearance. Well, I mean, obviously, it's got red berries in it, so it's bright red. I love this sort of colour. It's got, you know, a nice little, look at the lace in the glass there. I mean, it's sort of making a right mess of the glass. But it's a lovely sort of almost like blood red colour with this sort of very pinky head there with just a sort of, you know, just a layer of pink foam there. And I think it looks pretty good, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10. Flavour. It's obviously the most important one. As a sour, we've had some really bad ones, and we've had some really good ones from Vault City. So this is what it's up against. It's up against those great Vault Cities, and I think it actually holds its own. Actually, we had the raspberry sour from Vault City that's available in Tesco, and that was good. But this is a better sour than that. Obviously, this isn't a supermarket beer, but it's definitely a better. What makes it is you get all those sort of big, juicy berry, tart fruit flavors, but it's so creamy when it goes down. It's got a lovely creamy and vanilla. Sometimes the vanilla with fruit in a beer, it can be very hit and miss, and it can taste a bit artificial. But I wouldn't say that it gives it extra sweetness. It's not like a creamy vanilla milk chocolate, a white chocolate type of sweetness. It just gives a great body to the beer. That's what it really does. It still lets those real fruit flavors sing, but at the same time, you get this, it's all wrapped up in this velvety, creamy body, which is really good. And then what's quite interesting about this beer is that a lot of sour beers, you're getting a sour hit right up the front. You get that sort of tartness and that sort of sour puckered up with as soon as it touches your lips, basically. But this one, you sort of get that nice fruit, then the creaminess, and then the sourness kicks in on the back end. I think it's brilliant for a sour beer. It's almost up there. I don't think it's the apple. The key lime pie was really great by Vault City, and the apple pecan, maple pecan was exceptional as well. This is not quite to that level, but it's damn close. So I'm giving it 35 for flavour. Value for money, well, I mean, it's in a 440ml can, so it's a bigger than a Vault City. A Vault City you can pay 7 or 8, 9 quid even, I've seen some of them. But this was about £5, just under a fiver, I think it was. So I think that for this sort of beer, I think that's good value. It's 8%, remember, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10. And then my overall experience of this beer, I think it's great. I'd drink this one again. You don't know it's 8%. It's just got a real puckering up sort of fruit flavour, all wrapped in this sort of very creamy vanilla marshmallow, whatever you want to call it, sort of body. It's really, but that body doesn't, that vanilla and marshmallows, you think, oh, that's going to be a bit sweet and artificial. It doesn't at all. What it does, it makes the body of the beer really good. Really enjoyed it. I'm giving it 15 for my overall experience. So we top those scores up, and we get, wow, it's an Iron Maiden beer, 81 out of 100. It's a cracking sour beer. I'm not, I almost get to the point where a few months ago I was thinking, yeah, I'm not a big sour lover. I don't really like sour beers that much. But after drinking those Vault Cities, I thought I just want to drink more sour beers. And, again, I wouldn't want to sort of say, right, it's a Friday night, my first beer of the night, I'm going to have a sour. I don't think that works for me. But this is my sort of, the end of the night, evening sort of beer. And or just occasionally just going to have one drink. This works really well. I don't know how it would fit when you're having, if you've had a pale ale, then you've had this, and then you have an IPA, and then you have a stout. It just doesn't, for me, that doesn't work. And I don't think I'd want to keep drinking these, but as a one-off beer, it's really good. And I think that's what sours are all about, really. It's just that you've just got to be in the right mood. And when you're in the mood for it, you want something a little bit fruitier, sweeter, something a bit different. This really does it. 81 out of 100. Check this one out if you see it. I mean, Overtone do some great beers. I need to drink more Overtone. Their New England IPAs are really great. And I think they're really sort of pushing it a bit more now with lots of different releases. And everyone I see reviewing them, if you go on Instagram, you go on YouTube, if you see any Overtone beers reviewed, they're always pretty good. I've never seen a really bad one. So I think that they're really sort of taking big strides at the moment, Overtone. And they're a brewery that, deserves your time. So whatever you try from them, give them a go. I mean, but this one, if you like sour beers, I mean, Eton Mess sour, marshmallows, Madagascan vanilla, raspberries, strawberries. I mean, it sounds great, and you think, can it really live up to that description? Well, this one can. So, hope you enjoyed that video, and until the next one, keep on rocking.